What, sir? Let that sink in. Fun fact. It took humanity approximately 4 times longer to switch from copper swords to steel swords than it took to switch from steel swords to nuclear bombs. Imagine you're a vampire. You go to sleep in the early 1700s. Muskets and shit. Man, you wake up in 1945 and humans have the ability to wipe an entire city off the map in an instant. Gwen Stefani is older than Ted Cruz. Didn't believe this? Googled. It's true. That shit is bananas. Bananas. When NASA pitched the idea of the Voyager missions to Richard Nixon with the idea of touring the outer planets, he was told that the last time it was possible, Thomas Jefferson was in the White House. The particular planetary alignment that Voyager 2 used on its journey occurs only once every 176 years. Jefferson really dropped the ball. Your bones are wet. I now feel weird. Now all I can think about is my bones slipping and sliding around under my muscles. I don't like it. This is a really unpleasant experience. Everyone just stop. If the sun were scaled down to the size of a white blood cell, the Milky Way galaxy would be the size of the continental United States. The vastness of space is mind-boggling. Next to the US Army, Disney World is the largest buyer and importer of explosives in the USA. I was wondering what Mickey needed nukes for before I remembered fireworks exist. We are closer to the year 2040 than the year of 1994. No. If you live in the USA, you have better odds of dating Taylor Swift than dying of bird flu and Ebola combined. Don't try to scare us. In the span of the last 3 Star Wars movies, the Cleveland Browns have won 1 game. Why you gotta do my Browns like that? There was a time in history when trees existed but the fungi which causes wood to rot had not yet evolved to digest wood. Dead trees and plants would pile up and the 35% oxygen atmosphere caused massive fires. This is also the time where petrified wood came from. Trees would sit in mud for thousands of years and not rot while minerals slowly replaced the wood structures. The man who invented the frisbee was cremated and turned into a frisbee. Okay, but how? My son was cremated and there's no way I could turn his ashes into a frisbee. Scientists who work with cockroaches often develop allergies towards cockroaches. At the same time they also develop allergies to pre-ground coffee. Stegosaurus lived 150 million years ago. T-Rex lived 65 million years ago. Stegosaurus was more ancient to the T-Rex than the T-Rex is to us. In the USA more soldiers die from suicide than in combat. The Great Pyramid was built before the last woolly mammoth died. Pineapples take 2 years to grow. When humans started farming, blue eyes in humans hadn't evolved yet. The first electric car was invented at the end of the 19th century and it went 65 miles per hour. Sharks are older than trees. Adwaita, the longest living animal ever, was a giant tortoise given to Clive of India. He was born around 1750 and died in 2006. He existed longer than the United States has. There are more tigers privately owned in Texas than tigers in the wild. Your computer is much more likely of contracting a virus by surfing legitimate church sites than by surfing porn sites. Porn sites generally have experts combating viral stuff, while church sites are maintained by lower tech volunteers, as a rule. The overall goal in golf is to play less golf. This is analogous to my approach at my job. The Oxford University is actually older than the Aztecs. France was still using the guillotine when the first Star Wars film came out. If you choose not to have children, you are the first person in your direct ancestry all the way back to the first humans related to you to not have children. Maine is the closest US state to Africa. The majority of the first American settlers only survived the first winter by eating their dead children. In a few days the contents on this thread will be reposted on BuzzFeed and YouTube as Top 10 Facts You Didn't Know. As you get closer to black hole, time goes slower. This means that everything farther away would experience time faster and faster as you get closer and closer to the black hole. A second for you could be a billion years for those outside of it. Thus if you fell into a black hole and looked outside, you would see the universe die with you. You don't remember being born almost to the first year of your existence. All you know is one day you just started existing and taking in experience/memories. Scientists haven't found out a particular brain component responsible for consciousness. There is no physical proof of consciousness, it just is. The overwhelming majority of hands you've touched have had a dick in them at one point. Next year, there will be porn stars who were born in 2000. There was a period of time where 4 distinct species of human lived concurrently. There's about 12 times more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Since its discovery in 1930, Pluto has not yet made a full orbit of the sun. An iPhone is more powerful than every computer NASA had, combined, in 1969 during the first lunar landing. Red, green and yellow peppers are the same plant, just at different levels of ripeness. How is this not upsetting to everyone else? We can't prove we aren't in a simulation. Sinks can't open doors. Let that sink in. 700 million people, about 10% of the world's population, live on less than what $2 a day would buy you in the United States. If you earn more than $32,400 a year, you are in the top 1% of the world's income. That's after adjusting for local prices. 6 quadrillion. 520 trillion. Earth volumes make up the same volume as the largest known star, Uyscuti. That's 65200000000000000 times Earth. In 2010, 300 people had as much wealth as the bottom 50% of humanity. It's estimated that as of January 2017, that number is now the same amount of people that can fit into an extra large golf cart. 8. The city of Atlanta in Texas is closer to Atlanta, Georgia, a city 3.5 states away, than it is to El Paso, Texas. That is just how big Texas is. Cows kill more Americans than terrorists, most years. If you have 2 legs, you have more than the average amount of legs. Average hours of minimum wage work needed to pay for 4 years of public college. Baby boomers, 306. Millennials, 4459. About 40% of the world's food is wasted, and a lot of that is before it even hits the shelves. The Roman ruins are as old to us as the pyramids were to the Romans when they came across them. Ancient Egypt is fucking ancient. When the Next Generation first aired, data was roughly 60,000 times faster than the fastest computer on Earth. Today he is roughly 500 times slower than the current fastest computer. Every major pharmaceutical company in the US has closed the doors to their antibiotic research and development teams. Probably too late for this to be seen, but if you take into account the fact that on average people sleep, or should sleep, 8 hours a day, when you get 99 years of age, you will have only been awake for 66 years, having spent 33 years of your life sleeping. That's why I always stay up late. Rome is the only world capital where many countries have 2 embassies. I don't know if that qualifies as a let that sink in. Fun fact though. The vast majority of human beings are dead. As much as 50 billion plus have come and went before everyone alive today. The sinking of the Titanic was a miracle to the lobsters in the galley. Trophy hunting is keeping endangered animals alive. The hunters have ended up being the largest contributors to animal reserves. If they weren't spending a ludicrous amount, the land would likely be turned into farms. More Americans die from firearms every year in the USA than have died in Iraq and Afghanistan combined since 2001. Today driving a manual transmission car is a better anti-theft than most anti-theft systems. Ohio is the only state in the US to not share a single letter with the word mackerel. The Federal Reserve is a private entity outside the federal government. The brain named itself. One day your parents put you down and never picked you up again. If the B-17 had been flown in Operation Desert Storm, it would have been younger than the B-52 is now. Deceased men with prostates can have family members request that a rod is inserted in their ass and shock the prostate to cause ejaculation.
Cowbelly. Let's go, baby.
Demonetization is dropping your rating to stop a migration of top innovation and content creation in an opposite way. I saw your new status and got inspiration to drop a new cape. On top of your face is a mock and the face of the clock is still raising. The mob is impatient, monster is way cannot just escape. You'll drop like a cape. YouTube Ukraine, you thought you would make it. Past all the creators who want to get paid for their awesome creation. So take the advice of a god in the making. All I got to say is Cowbelly TV gets more traffic than a metropolis. Yes bitch, that's me. And I'm still looking for where my profit is.